I want to talk with you about anger this morning and what are we supposed to do with it. Some of you might think right now, it's not that big a deal. Occasionally I get angry and then I get over it and I move on. I am so happy for those of you who can process anger like that. For a lot of people, anger is a real issue. It can consume us. It can take over our decision making. I'm probably not the only guy that's going to watch this video that has, we'll say, struck an immovable object, like maybe got angry, punched door, got angry, punched tree, telephone pole, 4x4 post on the pavilion. I mean, you get the picture, right? We do things sometimes in anger. We say things sometimes in anger that are problematic. We'd like to undo, to take it back, and we just can't. So what is it about anger that has to be managed so much? Because I want to remind you that our ability to be angry is, again, a reflection. We're an image bearer of God. And if you get a concordance and start looking up about the anger, you're going to find God in his righteousness is angry about the sin and injustice that's being perpetrated on the world. And so our being able to become angry isn't the problem. It's what we do with it. Sometimes in the book of Psalm, chapter 4, verse 4, it says, "In your anger, do not sin. When you're on your beds, search your hearts and be silent." In other words, there is a time that we will be angry, and what do we do with it? We're supposed to examine ourselves. We're supposed to try and figure out why this is here. Is it a reflection of God, or is it a manifestation of my greed or selfishness or my issues? Ephesians 4:26 refers back to that passage in Psalm 4:4 that we just looked at. And it says, "In your anger, do not sin." And Paul goes on to say, "And do not let the sun go down while you're still angry, and give the devil a foothold." You see, there are things that happen to us when we get angry, and our enemy, the devil, wants to take full advantage of that. Why am I standing in my weight room this morning? This is one of the places that I come to process my anger. I strap on my gloves and I go to town on my heavy bag for a few minutes, because it's just a fact, a physiological fact, that when we get angry, it produces chemicals in our bodies that we've got to do something with. And sometimes if you get so angry, you've got to process that adrenaline dump before you can stop and reflect. But we've got to figure out whatever that action is that we can do privately to process our anger, so that when we go out to deal with what's going on, we don't make a mess of our reputation and our connection to the Lord Jesus. In the book of James, chapter 1, verse 19 and 20, James says, "My dear brothers, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. For man's anger does not bring about the righteous life God desires." So when we feel that emotion, it isn't the problem that we felt the emotion. The issue is, what do we do with it? And sometimes privately you need to go and lift weights and punch a bag with gloves and don't hurt your hand. We've got to do something to work through that emotion, and then we've got to process those feelings. And a great way to do it is to process privately, serve publicly. Take that energy and go do something good and kind, like James is suggesting. Our anger isn't going to produce the righteous life. And if you keep reading in the book of James, he's all about, hey, this faith that you feel and believe, go do something with it. It'll help shape your situation, and it'll put you in a position that you can hear from heaven what you're supposed to do with that problem that's got you so wound up.